When we started this fellowship, we had two goals in mind. We were going to send a student to learn at Pardes and engage with Jewish learning, something that Marla, I hear about, loved more than many things, and have them come from UC Berkeley, a place that she loved so much. As we have a conversation with the fellows from the years, we'll hear the diversity of experiences they had and continue to have. But what runs through each of them is this connection to having learned in Marla's memory, and they will hold on to for the rest of their life.
How for her, Jerusalem was just a city full of color, full of a lot of pain, but full of a lot of like beauty, and to be in awe of that.
The memory that stood out to me the most was when I'd introduced myself on the first day. And yes, several people came up afterwards, and we were just paired at random with Chevruta to do individual learning together in our classes. And my partner was this older gentleman, David Richmond, who immediately was like, oh yes, like I knew Marla, I knew Ben, like we were all friends. I was older, but I loved studying with them, and I'm so excited to study with you.
Despite the time span, her smile to be infectious. I don't think there was a single frown on my end the entire time I was there.
I've always wondered what it would be like to study with her, under her.
I felt throughout the fellowship just how much in common I would have had with her if I had known her and had the chance to meet her. It sounds like we had very similar Berkeley experiences.
One of my favorite classes was with Rob Grodner, I believe, and it was all about Maimonides, who I had until that point not really come across too much. But here's this, come to see Jewish philosopher and learned person, but also was a doctor and an astronomer, and very dynamic. And I kind of, in thinking about it, preparing for this session, kind of now see Marla in those same terms, a very dynamic person who was there for her community in many different ways. And it felt so lucky to kind of be a part of her memory and know her in some ways. So
it's like in kind of showing up with her good name attached to us, like I just remember feeling so just immediately like welcomed into that experience. Progressive humanist politics are very much a part of the Jewish tradition, and fighting over what our texts actually mean is very much a part of the work that we all have to do. And I feel very grateful that I got to do that at the beginning of that journey.
In terms of learning, sort of with Marla's energy by my side, it really, it reminded me to make the most out of every moment that I had there, even when I found moments challenging, whether it was the learning or being away from home.
I just wanted to say that I was kind of struck by hearing everyone talk about their experience or memories from Pardes and how there are similarities between those. I think this is actually the first time that I'm talking with fellows after both of us have completed the fellowship. I think, Ben, you and I talked before I started, and I might have talked to the fellows that came after me before they started, but it's really interesting to be in this group after having all gone through this same experience and just seeing those shared like parallels between them. I'm finding it very comforting because, as it's been mentioned, I think it was like a big responsibility to learn in Marla's memory, and seeing how that's a shared responsibility among all the fellows and how we're all part of this community really makes me feel like her memory is alive and continues to live on through all of us. And it's not just on any one of us to keep her memory alive, but that shared commitment to this fellowship is really impressive.
One of the clearest memories I have from Pardes is learning the story of Yalta in this very feminist reading of Yalta, who smashes the 1,000 vessels of wine. It's a story from the Talmud. And it's, this question of whether she was, this mad shrew or she was, a great Talmudic genius making a halakhic point. But having a vessel, on the side of her being a genius is the argument that vessels are really essential. And as Simone said earlier, I have met a lot of families who've lost loved ones especially in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And this vessel of a fellowship is pretty unique. I've really never seen this type of memorialization before. And it's kind of become, in the many ways that I've learned about how Marla has been remembered in her garden and in so many beautiful ways, that you all have found to remember her. This one is pretty special, and I've never seen anything like it before. And it really, it's with me in all these other families that I meet and speak to about their loved ones who they've lost, and remember that there's a lot of creativity that comes from something so tragic. And I wish, for your earlier question, Adam, I just wish we could all study together, on a regular basis.
I love that just teaching that Nathan just added in for us all about being a vessel. But I was thinking that there's something just like how Jewish and how beautiful it is that like this idea of learning in someone's memory and keeping their memory like alive through this like storytelling and passing on of like oral tradition of different kinds. There are a lot of Jewish fellowships out there for young people and for college students. And I think this is a unique one that really like asks something very like serious of you in return for the thing that you're doing, which I just appreciate like the seriousness of that. And the other thing I wanted to lift up is my appreciation for just like the community, just like all the different ways that there's a community of people that have been part of this experience.
In Marla's life, she was a connector of people, and it was really important for her that the people she loved knew each other and loved each other. And really that mattered to her. And I think that it's so amazing that even though she's been gone for 19 years, like she's connecting people all over the place.
To go back to the notion of the vessel, I think something that I found particularly unique perhaps is that it's a very special kind of vessel, one that never empties and always overflows. Mm-hmm. I've found I've continued my Jewish education in the years since I went to Pardes, and I'm continue to be informed by the experience there. So it really wasn't just a one-stop thing. It's something that has continued to orient me and fill me, and so I find that to be very. It was a very unique experience in that regard.
Hi, everybody. It's hard for me to actually put anything into words. First of all, being with Linda and Michael Bennett on or near the anniversary. I spoke with Linda a couple of days ago, but to see you both here is such a tremendous honor, I think, for me, for all of us. Probably everybody on here knows, but if you don't know, I had the honor of being at Pardes the second year that Marla was there, and some of the folks on here were there throughout her time at Pardes, and I was her boyfriend and planned to spend the rest of my life with her. And after her death and after the death of Ben Blutstein, who should be mentioned as well, the other Pardes student, along with 7 others on that horrible day, I got a chance to connect with many of you who I hopefully would have connected one way or the other through Marla, but then we've become bonded, and I've taken the path to become a Hillel director. There's something very, very special, and it was touched on by so many of the fellows tonight, about people who were doing learning in her name in the place that mattered so much to her. I do believe that within this world of forces beyond our understanding, as well as the forces that are within our reach and the actions we can take in the world, there is some kind of confluence. And I do believe that things, if they don't happen necessarily for a reason, we can bring meaning to the way they come about. And there's something incredibly meaningful that these young people, and I can call you young people because I've gotten so old, but these amazing young people who in each kind of slivers of them are these shards of the light that was shattered when Marla left the world, and they're bringing bits of that light back into the world and connecting it back together through being in this fellowship. And so that's a thank you to the fellows who are here and who weren't able to be here tonight.
To the fellows, because we like planted the seed so many years ago and we like had this hope, and hearing you talk about what your experience has been, it's clear, like Simone said, that you've taken it with a seriousness and you've honored that sense of not just like, here I am in Israel, I got some kind of fellowship, but really like sitting with it and thinking about it and being so thoughtful. And I want to say to all of you a tremendous thank you for that.
19 years ago, almost to this day, after Marla was buried, we had the funeral. A group of us were together with Rav Landis, who I think, Simone, you mentioned, and I just have this powerful image of you being in Rav Landis' office. Many of us know what that power of that can be, and arguing, and the invitation to argue back with him. And I know Marla cherished that relationship. And Rav Landis said to us in this painful moment where there were a bunch of Pardes, I mean, dozens of us in a home in San Diego. And he said, when you go out into the world trying to bring memories and memorials to Ben and to Marla, whatever you do, always have in mind, the primary thing is to bring kavod, like to bring kavod, to bring honor to someone who is no longer in the world, being able to bring honor to themselves is this incredibly powerful thing. And there's ways we can dishonor a memory and honor. And I've, lived my life, and it's been 19 years, and I'm sure there's plenty of things I've done that have, not always been to the honor, but that is stuck with me. And to me, this fellowship, among many others, and what you have done, you, the fellows, you, the five who created this fellowship, you, my dear friend Adam, who is carrying this forward, and all of us who care about Marla's memory in the world, I think this is an epitome of kavod, and it's just really an honor to be still part of it for me.